So today I am doing the updated apartment tour. Doing an apartment tour is kind of an intense undertaking. I posted one like a couple of years ago, and some of the things in the space are like largely the same because, you know, obviously I posted a video tour of my apartment on the internet. Like, I feel good about it. I like the space, whatever. But, you know, at the time it was like kind of understanding that we weren't gonna get it exactly where we want it to be within like even a year, 2 years of living here, and it was always gonna be kind of a work in progress. And I think in particular with that one, I was feeling really good about the living room, which you'll notice is like largely untouched, save for like a few kind of like nice upgrades and updates. But the bedroom was a big focus. So this isn't going to be a full apartment tour, but it's like 90% of the apartment because it's the living room and the kitchen, which are like somewhat combined. I don't know, they've got like an entry space between them, and then the bedroom. So the only thing you're missing really is like the hallway and the bathroom, and like I really did not need to give people a tour of my bathroom again, so here we are. Okay, before I embark on talking about my apartment ad nauseum, I should introduce myself. My name's Mackenzie. This is my channel Think Too Much. A lot of my videos kind of focus on like vlogs, so this is kind of a more rare version, but if you're someone like me who really likes vlogs and watching people live their lives, that's what I'm doing here. I follow my life in New York City. I'm in my late 20s. It's a lot of kind of reflection on like things I'm going through, things I've learned, but also kind of like with things intermixed, like fashion, interiors, all that fun stuff. So if that is of interest to you, please stick around for the rest of the video, but also consider subscribing. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm gonna kick it off with the living room and the kitchen because those are the rooms with the least amount of updates. I was pretty satisfied with the living room in particular when I did like the first apartment tour. Like, that room just like came together, and I felt like there was something like otherworldly just like kind of guiding me. Like, it was one of those spaces that I just had like this feeling for. Whereas the bedroom, I definitely kind of struggled to get my footing a little bit, which is interesting. Like, I've had that experience at other apartments too, where it's like the bedroom just like came together super well, and then the living room I was kind of stuck on. So I don't know if that's just like a thing where like, for me, where it's like in any new apartment that I'm in, there's gonna be like some rooms that I just get it and I like know what to do, and other rooms that like not so much. I do think bedrooms are tricky because you have to kind of like make your clothing storage look attractive. Because we live in a New York apartment, like these rooms do need to be multifaceted, and sometimes the layout of the rooms can be a little funky. Like, I think both of these rooms used to have fireplaces that have now been like paved over, but as a result there's like a weird, just kind of like, I don't know, little inlet thing like coming off of our walls, which can be kind of difficult to work around. Anyway, with the living room, most of the updates are kind of like little knickknacks and like upgrades from stuff. A lot of this stuff is actually gifted to us off of our registry, which, like, you know, thank you to our wedding guests for being generous enough to do that. I tried to be really conscientious with what I put on there because I hate the idea of wasting, but I also hate the idea of having to like store crap in our, you know, relatively small apartment. It's like big for the East Village, but that's pretty much a shoebox to the rest of the world. So, you know, that included like new table decor. I got like a new table runner with like a new like little pitcher that I could put flowers in. Some like really cute salt and pepper shakers. I upgraded the decor on the coffee table, which like that was, I don't know, I feel like I was particularly happy with how that turned out. It hadn't occurred to me that that might be something I like want to update. I kind of realized like, oh, we're gonna have this guest book that I'm probably gonna keep on the coffee table, and like how could I kind of make that look a little bit nicer? Oh, actually, now that I'm looking at it, like this tray, like I don't really love it anymore. It like collects dust in a weird way. So I was actually able to repurpose that for the dining table. And then I got a new tray, which is like a little bit sleeker and like a slimmer profile, so it's like less bulky. Anyway, all this is to say, I'm very happy with how the coffee table turned out, and that was like a space that it hadn't even occurred to me that there might be like some cool upgrades that we could do, and I'm just really happy with how it came out. One thing I definitely knew I wanted to use the registry for was like throw pillows, and we got a couple of those. To be honest, I want to get at least like one more, but we got some really beautiful pillows for the living room, which I'm so stoked about. One is this like gorgeous kind of like silky brocade little chartreuse pillow that we keep on the armchair. The other is like this like cool plaid, and then we got like really nice like wool throw blanket. So pretty happy with that. Yeah, I think other than that, not a ton of updates. I think the shelves are a little bit different. We got this really cute cat lamp. And that was actually just like one of those, and I'm a shill for corporate America, but that was one of those kind of like last minute like add-ons to another purchase that I made actually for the bedroom. It was like a furniture purchase, and I was like, oh, this lamp is really cute. And honestly, no regrets. I think it's so sweet. What else? We got some really, really beautiful candlesticks, and they're Shabbat candlesticks, and we got those for the wedding as well. And they're this like gorgeous kind of like curvilinear shape, and they're pretty tall, and they're silver, and I'm obsessed with them. They're like on proud display on our shelf. That's like mostly it. Just like, you know, fun little changes here and there, mostly like upgrades. I wasn't really interested in redoing too much in that space because as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, so now the kitchen. The kitchen is, I guess the kitchen's pretty different because it's a small room and there's just not that much furniture in there. And what we replaced since that last apartment tour was the island. And the last apartment tour, we had this really small island. And that was never meant to be like a forever piece, but I did admittedly kind of like love the vignette when you like walked into the kitchen because that's like where our main entry is. I wonder now if it would feel kind of empty to me, but it had always kind of been like a longer term plan to replace it with something bigger to accommodate like more storage because we had a pathetic amount of counter space and we cook like multiple days a week. Like we are not the type of New Yorkers that like eat out most days a week, like we cook most days a week. So that was one of those upgrades that just like immediately felt amazing, not necessarily from like a look standpoint, although like I think it looks good, just from like a quality of life standpoint. So if you're putting off a purchase like that and you have the means, stop putting it off, just get it. And with the island, it was awesome because it provided a lot of the storage space we needed. And I think I definitely had the wedding and the wedding registry in mind because I was like, you know what would be a great opportunity to get a bunch of cookware that we like don't actually have to buy and make sure it's like really nice? The wedding registry. That's how I justified finally like making the purchase, and it was so worth it. Like even beyond the storage, so worth it. Anyway, so along with that, we also got this beautiful like red ceramic Dutch oven, and that lives like on top of our kitchen cabinets. We got like new dishware, which was really cool. We got to upgrade a lot of our dishware. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the kitchen. Most of those upgrades are just like not really apartment tour friendly. They are more so like kitchen cooking friendly. So I won't bore you with those, any more of those details. Okay, and finally to the bedroom. So the bedroom was definitely a tricky thing to figure out. It's like a really big space, which is awesome, especially for New York, especially for the East Village. So no complaints there. But it's kind of, and it's mostly a rectangle, but there are just kind of like random spaces that could feel like really claustrophobic really quickly. This room has kind of been a work in progress for those reasons for a long time. So we have desks in both rooms, but the primary one is the desk in this bedroom. And for the longest time, we had kind of like a cheap Amazon desk. Again, just feeling a need, like at a time that we were buying a lot of furniture when we first moved in. I knew I wanted it to be a vintage piece. I'd like kind of watched the YouTube channels and like the interior stuff, and I'd followed like Paige Wassel and Lone Fox and like a bunch of those, and just kind of over the years kind of brushed up on my interior design skills or just like decorating skills. And I knew that part of what was missing in this room was kind of the warmth of something that feels vintage. Like everything felt a little bit too new. And I think everything too was like feeling a little bit too white. Like I think I kind of leaned too white with like the furniture and the pieces when I first moved in because it was just like an easy way to make things cohesive. But I think over time it just ended up making the space feel a little bit cold. So anyway, I found this gorgeous desk. I was looking at the Furnish Green website. Furnish Green is like a vintage furniture shop in New York. I highly recommend it. They've got awesome stuff and the prices are super reasonable, I think, for like a New York vintage place. And they can facilitate like courier delivery for you. And it's not that expensive. I think they were able to do it for like $130. And not only that, but I think the guy who did it said that if you book directly with his courier service, you get it for even less than that. So that's just like tip. Because I feel like part of the reason we put off so many of the updates for this bedroom was just like the fear of having to move the furniture. So anyway, I'm really glad we just kind of ripped the band-aid off on that one because it ended up being super efficient. And not only that, but while I was browsing the site, I also noticed the painting that's above our bed, which I love. Which is funny because I really liked the piece above our bed for a while. Like it was just a print, but it was like a Delacroix print. It was like a tiger. It was sleeping, and I thought it was really sweet for the space. But this piece I love so much better. I mean, it's obviously much nicer. It's like an actual painting. I think it's an oil painting. It's got a gorgeous frame, and it just like, the colors work so well in the room, and like, I don't think I was appreciating enough what like a blue tone could do in here. That painting, I found it online. I was like, wow, this is really pretty. Reminds me of California. We're both from California. Like, it just feels like a good kind of piece to add to the space. I really feel like it brings the place together. Even though like we have like different kind of eclectic art. Like we've got this art which like vaguely feels like a cultural appropriation, I fear. But I think it's really cool. It's like these kind of little birds on these like really gorgeous flowers with these like kind of gold bamboo frames, which are just like, I feel like wonderfully over the top. And then we've got this like other piece, and we also picked this up at Furnished Green probably a couple of years ago now. And yeah, it's just kind of that cool like mountainscape thing. Somehow I think it all works, and I am pretty happy with it. A big update that also should not have been put off for as long as it was put off, because it was just like a lifestyle upgrade, was nightstands. And like, we had nightstands before, but like Max had like a really kind of crappy nightstand that was like a repurposed, like shitty Amazon coffee table. So I was pretty happy to get rid of that. I think we like definitely got a good life out of it, considering it was probably like 20 bucks. I think we had it for like 6 years. So that's great. I mean, hopefully someone else has it now, because we just like put it on our curb for people to pick up, and luckily in New York, people want to pick up furniture. So we replaced his with this really nice wooden one from Urban Outfitters, and then I also got a nice kind of black wooden one. That was kind of an interesting, like, I was a little bit fearful of black initially. I don't know why, like there's black in the rug. I guess it's kind of like a washed black because it's a jute rug, so like the ink isn't like so opaque. I will say, like, I think black shows and picks up dust. Like, I think it just shows dust like more than other wood finishes, but I think it looks really nice and like works with the space. And I don't think it's bad to have a touch of black in any room, even though it can be kind of intimidating to dip into it. Anyways, really happy with those. Okay, so we also got new bedding, which like I definitely talked about this in a video at some point of like being obsessed with Moro soft goods. And so on our registry, I put some Moro soft goods bedding on there, and some people were kind enough to gift that to us, and I'm so obsessed with it. So the duvet cover on our bed is Moro soft goods. The orange pillowcases, they're like a linen, also Moro soft goods. I feel like it's such a cool color. We've also got like a mauve color, which is really beautiful. We've got this kind of, I think it's limo on the site, which I will be honest is a little bit more yellow, reads more yellow like online than it does like in person. I'm not sure if that's like a room thing. Like, we get northern exposure in this bedroom, and maybe that kind of gives it like a cool tone because it's not direct sunlight. But anyway, I think it looks really cool. Like, all of the colors kind of cohere with like the painting and like our other artwork, and yeah, just really happy with how that also kind of like goes so nicely with the painting and helps tie the room together. We got a really cool throw pillow that's got this like fun little, it's like a jungle scene and like a little, I don't know, pond thing in like a jungle with all these like pretty animals. It's got this like watercolor. I really like that pillow. Sometimes it's on the bed depending on like what the vibe of the bedding is, if the colors work. Sometimes it's on the chair, which is this like really beautiful green color. It's technically not this green color. There's a blanket over the chair that makes it this green color. But anyway, I love that green, and I think it looks really nice with the throw pillow. And I think the final update, there's just been a ton of changes with this room. It was really a work in progress when I did that apartment tour. So in one of my videos, and at this point, this was months ago, again, maybe a year ago, I'm not sure. One of my videos, I was building an IKEA wardrobe. And that was an awesome kind of upgrade to clothing storage for me, because before I was just operating with like some IKEA Kallax units. This was just like, took advantage of the space really wonderfully. Another kind of weird little cove in the room that was hard to know how to handle. Just kind of this like wardrobe piece ended up kind of filling it in really nicely while providing like ample space. If anything, I feel like I look at the room often and I'm like frustrated that they didn't take advantage of this like whole wall to just make like one big beautiful closet. But also I get it because it's New York City, and if you've got a big bedroom, you should probably show it off. If you're a landlord, not if you're me. Probably the last update for the space in terms of like furniture is the dresser that is on my side of the room. It's like this really pretty Urban Outfitters dresser. And again, it was an upgrade to like the storage piece I had before, which was just like a little, it was technically a nightstand. It was really small. So this was like an upgrade for storage. It's a lot prettier, I think. And it just kind of worked. That was I guess, dude, every wall in this room was like a trouble spot for me at some point. Like, I tried so many different things. And then the mirror above it, I think, just fits perfectly there. And I have all my jewelry up there, which is really nice. to just like see it, because if I don't see it on display daily, I will not wear it. That's just how I roll. But yeah, with that, there were some like kind of things were moved around. Like we have a couple of IKEA shelves, like Kallax shelves, which were separated for a long time. And like the day that I put them together, I was really just so, it was like, oh, I'm just gonna experiment with this, see how it looks. It's probably gonna look bad, like they're 2 different colors, like, oh, I might hate it. I love it. It was like, the first time like these pieces like felt like less juvenile to me, you know? It's like, they're such good storage pieces, like they store so much, so I don't wanna get rid of them. But like separate, they just felt so awkward as like these weird little towers in the room. And then one day I put them together and I was like, this makes so much sense. I think it looks so good. Yeah, so can't recommend that enough. So we moved those to like be together, and then we moved the mirror from like the far corner to the space that I was kind of talking about between the bed and the closet back there. But it's like, just makes it a little bit less. It's like a good way to fill the space without making it bulky to get in the way of that door. And it also doesn't feel too claustrophobic. So yeah, the space was definitely tricky. If you're working with a tricky space, Godspeed. It took me 4 years to figure it out. But you know, part of that is like, it's an expensive thing to experiment with. Like it sucks to buy furniture that you then either have to like get rid of or sell or donate or whatever because it doesn't work, or just like make work and it like doesn't work the way you want. Like it can just be really, that's why like interior decorating is so tricky. So, you know, I tried to be really, really methodical about it, and I think in some ways the time was helpful because I think there were some kind of moves that I like wanted to make but wasn't like impulsive enough to make at the time that like now I feel like would have been a mistake. But right now I really like this room. I think it's so beautiful, and when it's kind of like low light in the afternoon and we like turn on the lamps and stuff, it's really nice. We've got like a little like reading nook in the corner with the chair now in the corner, and it's just like a nice relaxing space to be in, which is really always the goal. So, okay, so that is enough of me talking about my apartment. I hope this offered some help. I fear that this one was not as kind of tactically helpful as my first one was. So if you want some like advice on like, you know, where to find furniture in New York, which like, spoiler alert, Facebook Marketplace, and just some insight of like how we originally put the living room together or whatever else, definitely check out my first video. This video, I guess I offered some like insight into how we kind of figured out the puzzle that was this bedroom. So I hope that was helpful. Hopefully it offered some inspiration. But yeah, if you're just starting to decorate your space, like I'm jealous of you. It's such a fun little adventure to embark on. If you're just looking to tinker your space like I have been for the last 5 years, hopefully this helped you kind of get out of some ruts. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. As you can probably imagine, it's not all apartment tours because I live in one apartment and I don't want to knock on other people's doors. I do a lot of vlogs with kind of a focus largely on like kind of reflection on like things I've learned, what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah. But also, you know, things like fashion advice, interiors, all that jazz. So if that sounds of interest to you, please consider sticking around and hitting subscribe. Otherwise, thanks for being here, and I'll catch you in the next one.